You are obviously a connoisseur of espionage films and spy movies. So I'm curious, what about the concept of Argylle appealed to you after doing three Kingsman movies?
Well, first of all, lockdown made me capture my kids, and I made them watch lots of films which they refused to watch from my childhood. One of the movies that really stuck with them was *Romancing the Stone*. They were like, wow, Dad, why don't they make movies like that? And I forgot how much I loved that film, right? I just wanted to make a film that I could share with my wife and my daughters, that they would enjoy, and that my son wouldn't throw up with boredom watching at the same time. And then I read the first book of Argylle. So we started with book 4, but again, I was like, hold on, it's got to be different. And I had an idea. I thought, imagine a world where J.K. Rowling, while she was writing Harry Potter in Portugal and being inspired by around her, imagine if a real wizard suddenly turned up with J.K. Rowling and went, yeah, it's pretty good what you're writing, but this is also how you do magic. And then the worlds start entwining, and I don't want to give too much away, but we suddenly created a whole new way of doing a spy film. And this movie, I mean, what I'm quite proud about, and I'm really respect Universal, this movie, I said to them, you can only cut footage from the first 28 minutes of the film. And because the film really, there's a reason that apart from me being crazy, there's a reason why they said the twisted mind of Matthew Vaughn they went, do you mind if we put that on the poster? I thought it was hysterical. And my friends were like, are you out of your mind? And I went, well, maybe. But I had the idea of, because, when you see trailers, you think you've seen the film. They put all the best bits. And, I said, here, after 28 minutes, you can anything you want. After that, it ain't going in the trailer. So it's got a bit of everything in it. You know what it has? It's escapism. Because when we were all sitting in the house together watching these movies, we were escaping lockdown. And I was like, let's recreate that feeling that they had. And it wasn't, and it's an adventure movie. *Romancing the Stone*. This is spies, and I'm guilty of all the I've contributed to creating the tropes of that we all know in spy movies. So I love the idea of taking some of the tropes that I'm guilty of and reinventing them.
What can you say about the dynamic between Sam and Bryce as the author and the quote real spy of the story?
He is the real spy. Well, he's the realistic spy, and he's brilliant because Bryce, Ellie. Ellie's written a spy novel about what spies are and what people want spies to be. And that's what's fun, because in the whole movie, we're taking sort of all the cliches that she would be imagining should be happening. And then there's Sam saying, no, this is how it is. And so she has to rely more and more on Sam dealing with stuff, because her ideas how to deal with a problem would work if you were in a fantasy spy movie, but if you're in the realistic way, there isn't going to be a gadget that'll let you fly out of the situation. It's about real espionage versus fantasy espionage.
Between casting Colin and now Sam as your spies, do you just like taking Oscar winners and making them kick-ass heroes?
By default, it sounds like, I was like, Sam won an Oscar? God, he did. How? Sam winning an Oscar makes me laugh. I love casting really good actors because it makes my life a lot easier. And I also think when you cast great actors and you get them to do stuff that they haven't done, that greatness kicks in because they're excited. And Sam excels in this movie. He is so good.
I'm sure you're aware, what do you think about people speculating publications that Ellie is a fictional creation by you?
Well, today you're going to have to see the book. And if it was a fictional, I know people are saying it. I'm like, well, there's a 380-page book, which either I'm the new magician of all time. But when you see the book, I mean, it is interesting because I've seen that there's all this interest in Ellie Conway. I'm like, since when's anyone been interested in authors? There's J.K. Rowling and Crichton and stuff, but there's not many authors who've written a first book, which is now becoming a movie that everyone's going crazy about.
Watching the trailer, I was taken by how you break the fourth wall a little bit with self-aware narration and Kick-Ass and Stardust. Is that something that appeals to you, winking at the audience as a story construction?
A friend of mine said I should have called my company Mischief Films. I can't help but if I can find an area where it can be a little bit more fun, a little bit more elevated, I'll go for it, in the genre that I play in.
People say Kingsman is your Bond, and there is obviously a large element of that. But
Yeah, huge.
Colin's playing Patrick McNee in that, honestly. So Henry's your 007?
Yes, I'd call him, he's 007 and a half. I adore him. He would make a brilliant Bond.
This is also Dua Lipa's first major film role. Could you talk about what she brings to this character?
She's the nemesis to Henry Cavill. And I needed someone that you would immediately recognize, but also be like, oh, okay, that's not what I was expecting. And thank God for my girls, because I didn't know who Dua Lipa was. And they said, and they started playing me her music because I'm an 80s boy. And then I saw her being interviewed, and she was wearing a Valentino dress that I'd say 5 people in the world would get away with wearing it. I mean, it literally looked like a Christmas tree. So I knew she would explode off the screen, and a delight to work with as well.
Well, we're here talking about Argylle, and we've talked in the past about Kingsman. Even after doing all these spy films, if the opportunity came to direct a James Bond movie, would you take it?
Oh, I had the opportunity once. And I nearly did Casino Royale, and I would have loved to have done Casino Royale. I'd never say never. I think there's more chance of me being cast as James Bond than directing a James Bond. So highly unlikely. But Superman, I would still love to have a shot at. And I said, if I was allowed to reboot Star Wars and go back and put Skywalker and Vader and just start again, then no, everyone would think you're crazy, but I've been arguing with people. We've done it with Spider-Man pretty well, Bond. I think Star Wars is a Skywalker family. If I was allowed to do the Skywalker story, then I'd love to do a Star Wars. And Bond, I've itched a lot of it with Kingsman, so it'd be tough. It'll be tough for me to do a Bond.
Would you have any suggestions of how to reboot Bond in the 2020s?
Yes, but I'll do it on Kingsman. So I'm not going to tell them how to play in my sandpit.